What's going on? Welcome back to On Tap Bets. I am your host, Joey Ricotta at Joey Knows Nothing on Twitter. We are On Tap Bets at On Tap Bets. I am with the man himself, Jack Bushman at Jack Bushman 2. We are going over our final bets, like our final picks for this U.S. Open for the major. If you can't tell, my voice is still pretty shot. I had Jack steering the ship yesterday. I'm still a little bit under the weather as far as the throat goes. I feel like I'm Tom Thibodeau. I've been coaching the old school Bulls and just like yelling up and down the court, like telling these guys, "Hey, you gotta stick on the pick and rolls, the rotation pieces." I don't know. You know how basketball coaches their voices just get shot immediately, very fast. So that's how I feel today. But I'm excited, Jack. We've got the U.S. Open, third major of the year. We didn't even talk about Rory McIlroy's comments about LIV. I saw you tweet something from the On Tap Golf account. That's something I kind of want to start there. Like, let's start with him and John Rahm's comments. Like, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun tournament.
Oh, absolutely. And for Rory, man, it's kind of funny to see him go savage a little bit. Like, he is kind of the players' president, if you will, out there on the PGA Tour. He's the one who kind of talks on behalf of all the players. And to see him not only kind of talk about LIV Golf the way that he has, just kind of throwing shade on it, but also throwing a dig at Greg Norman when he picked up his win during his post-round interview. He threw a quick jab at Greg Norman saying he picked up his 21st victory, which was one more than someone else who obviously we know to be Norman. And he said that he kind of used it as extra motivation throughout the week. So, man, that was incredible. And for Rory, I see where he's coming from, like he's always been someone who's backed the tour. As I said, he's the one who kind of speaks on behalf of all the players. But I like seeing Rory, not be a robot. I like seeing these guys give their true and honest feelings about it. And then for John Rahm as well, like what an eloquent statement. Like I thought he put that together really well and said all the right things. And it's kind of crazy. I was listening to another golf podcast and I was hearing them talk about this. Like English isn't even John Rahm's first language. And he's out here making these kinds of incredible statements where like he's saying his true thoughts while he also doesn't want to be judgmental towards anyone. He said he understands how this could be beneficial for other people, but he's not really attracted to a no-cut 54-hole event where there's shotgun starts and he's not playing. There's already a secured paycheck basically by going over there. Like, sure, you're playing for the extra money, but it's not as competitive, I feel like, of an event as the PGA Tour, and he said money's not everything and that he's made enough money where he could sit back and retire already. So he just wants to compete against the best guys. And I'm sure a lot of guys who are sticking around feel that same way. It's a tough thing to say and put together in a statement when you're getting interviewed by the media in front of thousands of, fans. People are going to see it on social media and everything. I'm sure it's got to be nerve wracking. So I give a lot of credit for John Rahm for putting together such a good statement. But yeah, it's going to be interesting throughout the week seeing how those LIV golfers are going to hang in there. There's a couple storylines that could get actually ridiculous if they were to play out. Like Phil Mickelson obviously competing would just be insane. Bryson DeChambeau and Dustin Johnson as well, two guys who don't seem to be getting a lot of interest this week. If they're competing or if they're doing their thing and are in the hunt on Sunday, I mean, people are going to be going nuts there as well. Patrick Reed's another one. So it's going to be a fun event, man. I'm super excited for the third major of the year. It's going to be a great weekend. It's going to be a super tough test, as we talked about on the show yesterday. If you want to hear more of a course breakdown, I talked about it a little bit. Also, our other member of On Tap Golf, Wes, who it was his first episode on yesterday, he's unfortunately under the weather, but he did provide us with some incredible insight on the country club because he's actually golfed there before. So if y'all want to hear that, hear more about the course, be sure to go and check out yesterday's episode where we kind of previewed the betting board and all that good stuff. But I'm pumped, man. As we talked about before the show, I won on Rory last week, so I'm feeling good. It's the ideal situation coming into the year's third major. The confidence is at an all-time high, and I'm ready to break down the field here, buddy. What do you say we dive on into it?
I'm ready. Jack is back. I think that's the theme after last week with the Rory hit. And you definitely did. You definitely deserved it. So congrats to you, man. And you know what? It was great to have Wes on the show yesterday for the first time. Obviously it sucks that he's under the weather today, but like you said, encourage anyone that's listening, watching this right now, after we are done here, go check out the preview show we did, because the course breakdown and all that information that we wrapped together in that first show, I think is definitely quality, and hopefully will help you as you're going to place these wagers or just looking for some entertainment here in the tournament, things to look for. But yeah, so today I'm with you. Let's go ahead and dive in. Like I want to see what your outrights are, Jack. Let's start with 30-1 and under. What do you think? Who are you looking at this week?
Before I get into my picks, I'm gonna ask you this question and I'm gonna give my answer. So I want to ask you how many guys below 30-1 you are betting, and I'm gonna go with 1. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're wrong unless there's better prices on golfers that I missed.
Okay, you got any?
I have 3.
Oh, wow. Look at this guy up at the top of
I know, right?
Who are you, bro?
I don't know who I am, but it's a major. So this is why I don't like them. I love the majors for the entertainment perspective and just how important it is. Just like what John Rahm was saying, basically about, the best of the best, right? This is why we tune into golf for the most part. We want to see the best against each other. But when it comes to these majors, I'm more of the long shot style of a guy, so I don't love the majors as much because I feel like I can't take as many stabs down the board.
Yeah, but at the same time, especially with this event, if you go and look at the track record of guys who have won this event, it's usually guys near the top of the betting board. The one outlier is kind of Gary Woodland, who was 80-1 a few years back when it was the summer of Gary. But he does have that kind of skill set where, and at that time, he was legit. He was right there at the PGA Championship as well when Brooks Koepka took it down. Tiger Woods made a late push. That was a crazy event back in 2019. But under 30-1, getting into my picks here at the top of the betting board, I really did want to take Rory, man, after he did me well last week. I know there are people out there, too, with a Rory double, that people had Rory at the RBC Canadian Open and have him this week at the U.S. Open. And, I mean, that would be one heck of a payout. So for all the people out there who have the Rory double, best of luck. I sadly don't, and I'm probably going to be fading him at 10-1 at the top of the board. He's the outright favorite as of right now. And even though numbers have fluctuated, he's kind of stayed as the favorite. It's going to scare the shit out of me to fade Rory. I'm not going to lie, because he's always, right there. He makes incredible charges late to get himself in contention, seemingly, if he's not there in the first place. I do like Rory. I may be interested in betting him first round leader, honestly, but I don't think I'm going to get to him at 10-1. I'm also going to be fading Justin Thomas at 11-1, but the two guys after him, Joey, I like both of them. I like Jon Rahm and Scottie Scheffler. I think this course sets up well for what both those guys do. Rahmbo's long and straight off the tee, one of the best with the drivers. I know he lost last week off the tee, strokes gained, but he hasn't done that since the last time he lost strokes off the tee was way back in 2019. I have pretty good confidence in Jon Rahm's driving.
Still first in that category. He's still first.
Yeah. He's an amazing driver of the ball. I think that's going to be a necessity here. Keeping it in the fairway, too. Those bombers are usually the guys. Like Jon Rahm won it last year, and I feel like the USGA is going to have a similar setup this week. So Jon Rahm, 13-1. I already have that locked in, and I have a Scottie Scheffler. I used a boost, by the way, to get Scheffler up to 17-1. Like, Scottie's not far removed from being not even close the best player in the world. And sure, he's had kind of slip-ups the last couple weeks, but there haven't really been slip-ups. He's still been right there. Lost in the playoff at the Charles Schwab, so we know the game's right. Sam Burns just drained a crazy birdie putt to put him out. I really like Scottie Scheffler this week at the top of the board as well, and I liked him so much that I used my one boost on him. So I got Rahm at 13-1. I got Scheffler at 17-1. The one other bet that I have made so far is Xander Schauffele 22-1. I saw his number drop. He opened at 16 at a couple of places. I saw a 22. I like Xander a lot. He's never finished outside the top 7 at the U.S. Open, so I like his track record. He's been playing pretty well lately. Kind of a forgotten man because the PGA Championship didn't go so well, but he has a great track record at majors. I trust his game a lot. Winning might be a big ask, but I do think 22-1 is a pretty good number for Xander. And the last one that interests me under 30-1 is Jordan Spieth at 28-1. I haven't placed a wager on him yet, but I'm still kind of thinking about it. But those are the guys that I'm intrigued at the top of the board. I know there's a lot, but as I mentioned, these are the guys that usually win these tournaments. So who do you have interest in, or who do you have bets on already this week, Joey?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned one of them right off the bat. I'm obviously still very interested in Scotty Scheffler, but I have not placed a wager, and I don't think I'm going to. It's just as often I've been fading him, I'm just going to keep doing it, and it's not really because it's smart. I don't think it's that smart to do. I'm just not doing it. I think Rahm up at the top here is my favorite pick. I got him at 15-1. I just think all the things you mentioned about off the tee. You know, he's good first in greens and regulation percentage. He knows what to do here at this tournament at the U.S. Open. Obviously, we saw it last year. He knows that what it takes to win. He's good with just go ahead and hitting par when he needs to and not trying to overdo it and not getting himself into trouble. And that bogey avoidance, I think, will be key here. So let's ride. Jon Rahm, 15-1. I like that. Patrick Cantlay, actually, believe it or not, I'm not fading him, 25-1. I know it's a major, and I know people want to fade him in the majors because they haven't seen it from him. I'm hoping he can lay this week. Let's go. He's been unreal in pretty much every event as far as quality and consistency goes outside of the majors. So, and he struggled at Southern Hills, you know, for the PGA Championship, which kind of scares me, to be honest.
He was also part of that bad wave, to be fair. He got fucked by the weathers, as a lot of guys did. Scotty Scheffler was in that group too. Yeah,
that's very fair point too. And it's he's good around the greens, good putter, very good ball striker. I'm rolling with Cantlay here. Maybe he can get it done. 25-1. I don't think it's a terrible price because I think he's going to be in contention. So I like Cantlay there. And then Zalatoris, 28-1. As far as that's like my last guy under 30-1. Zalatoris, I just want to see the history. I mentioned it yesterday. You know, T2 or T6 Masters, T2 at the PGA Championship. You know, since the Players Championship, he's basically been either T6 or better or cut. 5 T6 or betters and 2 cuts.
You know what you're getting out of Willie Z. It's either he's in contention or he's not golfing good at whatsoever.
Yeah, it's just it's very, very good or very, very bad. And like, yeah, he might wind up just completely shitting the bed down the stretch. And I'm actually expecting it. But another reason why I like Cantlay is because of the bogey avoidance too. And he's tied with Cantlay for 27th in bogey avoidance. So is Zalatoris is. So I like both of these guys. And yeah, I mean, first in strokes gain approach for Zalatoris, both these guys under 30-1, and Jon Rahm. I'm rolling with 3 boys up there near the top of the leaderboard or near the top of the odds.
Yeah, for Cantlay, and it's not like his non-major numbers have been really good as of late too. It's just been the majors that's kind of pushing everyone away. And there's kind of this narrative around Patrick Cantlay that he can't win these big events. Like, I think that's bogus. Like, he's won the Memorial multiple times. He's also, last season, he won the BMW and won the FedEx Cup. Like, he won the last 2 events of the season to take home the big money. Like, I don't think these stages are too big for Patrick Cantlay. Just for whatever reasons, he hasn't been able to show up. So I'm not going to get there with Cantlay, but he is someone that scares me because he does have that good all-around game that, as we've mentioned a couple of times yesterday and today so far, we really think that's kind of the build that you're going to need to have to win this tournament because it's just such a difficult course. But for Will Zalatoris, he was actually someone I was planning to get to later as we start to move down here a little bit because I locked him in at 30-1. I had a feeling that number was going to drop. I knew people were going to be betting Willie Z as the week.
Got a good price.
Yeah, like 30-1 feels like a pretty fair number for Will Z. I talked weeks ago about how I was going to bet him at the U.S. Open. Like, he does everything well. He just, those little putts and Sundays just give him the yips for whatever reason. But you mentioned it, first in strokes gained approach. I mean, he's incredible with his irons. He's so good. He's long off the tee. He can hit the ball straight. He has these ridiculous drives that make for perfect like Twitter clips because literally his drive will go 320 yards dead straight and the tracker is just like a thing of beauty. We know Will Zalatoris has it in him. He's just got to show us it on Sunday. Like, I fully believe in him to be there through 3 rounds. There's no reason that he can't do it. He's done it literally damn near every major that he's been in so far. It's just been the Sundays that have given him problems and, finishing really strong. So I'm hoping that he can do it this week, and 30-1 just seems like a really good number for a guy like Will Z. But moving down the betting board as we get here, these are the numbers that have really fluctuated over the past couple of days. Colin Morikawa seems to be nobody's playing him, and he scares me because I know what his iron games can do, but I've decided that I'm not going to get there. But aside from Rory McIlroy, if there's anyone else who scares me the most in this field, it is Colin Morikawa. But
I got to Morikawa.
You did?
Yeah, 32-1. I grabbed Morikawa.
It's such a good number. Like I know he's been playing bad, but we know what the upside is, and he's won majors before. He's a two-time major champion already at such a young age. I know the form hasn't been great, but this is probably the best number you're going to see Morikawa at a major unless he continues to tank until the Open, which, given his skill set, I doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, he's been losing strokes around the green and putting, so we'll see. His driving accuracy, he's still fifth in strokes gain approach. I mean, he still can be one of those top guys any given week, even if he's not in the best of form. I didn't really like what he had to say in his interview because he kind of made it seem like he's still not in a great form, like he doesn't know how it's going to go this week.
Yeah,
and that kind of worries me. That kind of worries me, but I'm going to take a shot. Like if he gets rolling early, if he gets hot that first round, we'll see what happens. I think it's just too good of a price to pass up on Morikawa.
Yeah, absolutely. And another guy who's got a really interesting number down here that makes for some conversation. Dustin Johnson's dropped all the way down to 35-1, and I'm sure you could probably find it higher in different places. Are you interested in DJ at all? Because I'm not going to get there, but that number is like juicy.
Yeah, not really, just because I don't think you have to be a pure bomber this week. And like if it was a different course, maybe I would probably just say, yeah, I think the bombers are what it takes. And not to say that you don't want to be a bomber, but I just think that DJ sets himself up better in other spots. And also the whole LIV Golf thing, I don't know what's going to happen here, him coming into it. I know, and that's what's keeping the price down as well, but I'm just staying away. I don't know. I don't see him pulling it out this week. I really don't.
For sure. I was just curious because those numbers on a couple of guys, we'll get into Bryson later too, are definitely intriguing. And this is the range where this is where I really got to figure out what I'm still going to do. I have the top of the board guys locked in, but here, the only bets that I've made so far, I have Sung Jae Im at 45-1. I really like Sung Jae. He's a good long iron player, good around the greens. I know that I just feel like this is way too far of a price. And Sung Jae, we've seen him compete. He was there at the Masters. I think he's got a really good game. 45-1 was what I locked him in at, and his numbers dropped a little bit too. But there are a lot of guys who intrigue me here that I got to make some final decisions on, Joey. Tony Finau, sadly, at 35-1. I know he's probably not going to win, but that's a number that catches my eye as well. I've also gotten some interest in Daniel Berger. He's forever my boy because he won me the Charles Schwab that got me into gambling. And 40-1, I know his game hasn't been great and he's been dealing with a back injury, but it seemed like he found some stuff at the Memorial the last time out, and he had a really good week in terms of approach and with his putter. And I think him playing at the Charles Schwab and the Memorial back-to-back weeks ahead of the major tells you that he is feeling a little bit better. Like he wouldn't have played in back-to-back events unless he was confident that his body would be able to withstand that. So I do like Berger at 40-1, and I also really do like Max Homa at 45-1. I am going to bet Max Homa. He's just been honestly one of the, I believe, top 10 players in the world in the past couple of months. Like he's great with the driver. He's long and accurate. All of a sudden, the putter has come to life, and he's a scrambling machine. He's been able to get out of trouble. Now, I do have some concerns because when he blows up, he tends to blow up big. Like, he'll duff a chip into the rough. He has some issues there. Like, his bogeys, I feel like, have potential to become double bogeys or worse on a course like this. So I do have some concern about Homa because I think bogey avoidance is going to be such a key stat this week, something you've honed in on as well. But for how well he's been playing, 45-1, seems like a very good price to me, and I think you're in on Max Homa as well.
Yeah.
But who else in this range is caught in your eye? Because there are a couple more guys that I want to get to potentially here.
Yeah, just briefly to touch on like what you were saying with Max Homa, that was one of the guys that I pointed out on yesterday's show that I am in on. I mean, he's finished outside the top 25. He hasn't finished outside the top 25 since the Masters. T13 at the PGA Championship, like we talked about, one Wells Fargo, one Fortinet. I think he's just playing extremely good golf right now, so 45-1 makes a ton of sense. So hopefully that's the guy that takes it down because we are both in on him.
That would be sweet.
That would be very sweet come Sunday if he's in it. 40-1. I like Joaquin Niemann. I found him at 40-1. T23 at Southern Hills. T3 at the Memorial. Very good tee to green. 9th in birdie average. Pretty good at avoiding bogeys. Joey, why are you doing this to yourself, right? No major wins. I just keep picking these guys that don't have the major wins. But I just think the first-time major winners, they could come here at the U.S. Open. I mean, like we look at it, 7 of the last 10 U.S. Open winners have been first-time major winners. So that's another reason why I'm going to go ahead and fire on some of these guys that normally we wouldn't look at in these majors, even though they are good, well-rounded, pretty damn good golfers for the most part. And I think Joaquin Niemann is one of those guys that he can get hot, and he's good at avoiding bogeys, and that's another reason, like we said, that's something I've been really looking at this week. Yeah,
his all-around game is really solid, and he may not have the pedigree because he's at such a young age, but he really is. I mean, we've seen him win big tournaments. I mean, the Genesis, that's no joke. Tiger Woods' course, and he was wire to wire there, man. He was absolutely incredible. So Joaquin Niemann was actually someone who caught my eye as well. I see him down to 35-1, so I kind of wish I jumped on that 40 when I saw it. But he's someone that I have interest in here. Hideki Matsuyama, 40-1 feels like a really good number. I know he's kind of been everywhere. He got DQ'd from the Memorial for having that illegal paint on his club, which was weird. We still don't even know if he's over the injury that he was dealing with, but 40-1 feels like a really good number for a guy who we know his upside. I mean, he's a Masters winner. So 40-1 feels like a good number for Hideki. I'm not in on it yet, but these are guys who are just catching my eye. And also 2 other guys, man, I really do like this range. Cameron Young, the number's not very good, 50-1. I know he's still very young into his career, but it feels like not a lot of people are on him after he had one bad round at the Memorial. I get he shot like 12 over and it was terrible, but like for what he's done in such a short time on the PGA Tour, he's been right there. And he was right there at the PGA Championship as well. He just kind of crumbled down the stretch, as a couple of other guys did as well. So 50-1 is a number that caught my eye for Cameron Young, and same with 55-1 for Billy Horschel. I'm probably not going to get there on him, to be honest, but his game has been really working really well as of late. Obviously, winning the Memorial was a huge one for him. He's won some big events. I mean, when Billy Ho wins, it usually comes against a strong field. So I like what I've seen out of him. I don't know, again, if I'm going to get there, but I just thought that was an interesting number too for a guy who's been proven here as of late. So like I said, I got some decisions to make in that range, but I don't want to talk on this too long. Like I said, I'm going to be tweeting out my final picks eventually, so I'll let you all know who I get to in this range, but there are several guys who are catching my eye right now, and I know I got some tough decisions ahead of me. Was there anyone else you got in this 30 to 60-1 range before we move on a little bit, Joey?
I went way down after that.
Baby.
I stopped at 45-1, and I just everything past that. There's a couple past that. But
honestly, It's not a bad strategy because I feel like once you get past, I'll say 60-1, I don't want to say those guys don't have a chance because, I mean, the field is good. That's how the U.S. Open is going to be. But usually under 50-1 is where you want to stay. So I can't blame you on anything there.
Can I just say something? I wanted to go with Mito. I hate the price in a major. I just can't do it. For a major, I can't.
I understand. He does play, difficult courses well, and he's got that bogey avoidance. I don't know if I'm going to get there on old Mito either. It feels like his time was at Southern Hills, and I don't know if he's going to have one like that for a while. I hope not, because I do like Mito, and I think he's a good guy, but that was a tough scene for sure, especially for you, buddy. I'm still very sorry about old Mito.
He choked it out. I know.
But moving on, 60-1 here. Obviously, Corey Connors catches my eye at 60-1. I actually don't know if I'm going to bet it this week. It depends like how much wiggle room I'm going to have, because I'm not just going to bet like irresponsibly at this point. But Corey Connors did have a really good Saturday and Sunday round at the RBC Canadian Open. So that kind of, probably jumped me back on the train a little bit. I bet him at 22-1 at that tournament, which we both knew was just a disastrous number, but it is what it is. That's my relationship with Corey Connors in a nutshell. But honestly, man, not a whole lot of names down here I'm really going to get to. I mentioned a few yesterday, someone like Taylor Gooch, who has some comparisons to Sam Burns without all the victories this year. I think that's a fair comparison. He was someone that interests me. We mentioned our differences in the in Keegan Bradley this week. I think I am going to bet Keegan 80-1. But aside from that, I think I'm going to get to Luke List because I'm a sucker. I'll probably throw $5 because I do believe in the Luke List upside. He's good around the greens. Just hopefully, pars are going to be good here, man. Luke List, just make your pars, have that around the green game going, and give yourself 3-footers that you can't miss. That's the ideal way to go about it for Luke List. So 150-1, I'll probably only throw $5 on him. But honestly, my favorite pick from down here, it's kind of an evil pick, I will say, Joey, but I do like Patrick Reed 100-1.
Oh, boy.
As of late, and what a storyline that would make. And we know Patrick Reed loves himself a difficult course. He can rely on that short game. He finds fairways. He's just been playing a whole lot better than he was earlier on in the season. So I'm going to go with Patrick Reed 100-1. I haven't placed a bet on Keegan yet, but I know I'm probably going to get there, which is probably going to keep me out of the Taylor Gooch market. But who do you have from way down here as we start to move down the betting board, buddy?
Yeah, you mentioned List, Luke List, 150-1. His putter worries the hell out of me.
Oh yeah, we're stupid for sure, but that's how we do.
We established this last week that me and you both hate money, but and then you won money, so I guess we don't hate it that much.
It's okay, I'm neutral on it.
But so I've also got a prop with Luke List later on that we'll get to, but Tom Hoagie is the other one. I call these basically the go fuck yourself long shots. And if they hit, they hit. I'm not expecting them to, but both of those guys have been good to me. So I'm rolling with Hoagie Buns and Mr. Luke List. He just made the list.
Absolutely. I completely understand. That's the relationship I have with Daniel Berger and Corey Connors, two guys that I've already mentioned here on the show. But any more outrights? Anyone we missed? Is there anything else? Or are we just gonna move on to some props here?
Let's get to the props, man. I'm done with the outrights. I think that's 8 of them.
One thing I did want to say, I do want to mention Wes's picks because he was nice enough to hop on the show yesterday. He's going to be back on the show in the future. As we mentioned, unfortunately, he's a bit under the weather today, so I wasn't able to make it. But I do want to say his outright of the week, he went mostly with props this week, which was interesting. He went with Matthew Fitzpatrick as his pick, which he won the U.S. Amateur here. He's got some huge wins over in Europe, just hasn't been able to find the success in North America. I really like Matthew Fitzpatrick. I have a prop on him that I'm going to get into soon. Just feel like winning's a big ask. But, hey, I wish Wes well because Matthew Fitzpatrick has been so close for some time now. I don't think it's a bad pick. It feels like if there was a time for him to get it done, this would be a course. He fits it well. He's good off the tee. The short game's incredible, avoids bogey, so I completely see why. I'm not going to get there, but I wish Wes the best of luck with old Matthew Fitzpatrick. He'll probably be in the hunt. I feel like that's a safe lock, hence why I got a prop on him. But wanted to make sure I get that in there before we move on to the props. As I said, Wes has some props too, so as we go along the way, I'll be able to throw those in there too, Joey. But
yeah, I like that call. I mean, it's a ballsy call, but like you said, he's pretty decent form right now too.
Amazing form, actually.
I really, I love it. I love it. If that happens this week, it'd be balls on the table for Wes. I like it.
Absolutely. But what kind of props you want to start with? You got any top 10s or top 20s or anything? I have one top 10.
I didn't go top 10. I started at top 20. So if you, go ahead and give your top 10. I'd like to hear that.
Funny enough, my top 10 is Matthew Fitzpatrick. I got him at plus 300 for a top 10. I think that's
there we go.
Safe bet. Knows this course well, obviously. I don't need to harp on him too much. Also, Wes has 3 top 5s. He's got Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, top 5, which I think Justin Thomas obviously has incredible form. Jordan Spieth, he's been right there multiple times. And he's also got Sam Burns, someone who I mentioned interests me as well. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to him, but I feel like if there was a time for Sammy Burns to win a major, this could be the time. So I really do like all 3 of those that Wes has as well. What top 10s do you got? Or top 20, I should say. I forgot that.
Yeah, I think this is a great course for Sam Burns, by the way. But
I do too.
So I like that a lot. And that, top 20 I started with, I've got a quarter unit on each of these. Tony Finau plus 140. Top 20. I don't think he's going to win it. But, hey, I think he's definitely going to be up there because that's just what Tony does. I mean, you call him top 10 Tony. I just want top 20 this week. So
right. We're not asking
let's do it. Not asking for much, Tony. Will Zalatoris plus 130. Found it at. That was the best price that I could find, but it might be better than that. Mentioned Zalatoris and the reasons why earlier, so I won't harp on it too much. But yeah, I like both of those top 20.
For sure. I also have Tony Finau plus 140. He treated me well last week in the top 20, so I'm going to stick right back to it. I also got Shane Lowry at that same price, top 120. Lowry, he's been so close so many times. I said yesterday, I think he's probably the best golfer who hasn't won this year. Like, the dude's been so close. He's been right there in majors. He's got that type of game that you want at a tournament like this. He can play difficult courses well. So I like Lowry plus 140 as well. So those are my two top 20s that I had. You got any top 40s?
I have a top 40, but I also have a top 30. I found a top
really?
30.
Top 30.
Yeah.
You got?
I was a little weird with this one, but I just wanted to get it to plus money, and so I took Max Homa plus 105. I think I grabbed it at PointsBet. Wouldn't mind the top 20 though either. Like if you want a little bit of a better price, more plus money with the top 20, I would not mind taking that if you're just asking me like for advice or whatever. But like I think this is playing it a little bit safer, at least in my head, of doing the top 30 for Homa. So even though I like him to possibly win this tournament, I think top 30 is a pretty safe bet to me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, makes sense. You're betting on him to win. You think he's probably going to do well, right?
Right.
I don't have any top 30s. The one top 40 that I had was a guy I already mentioned. I'm going to take an outright on him. Patrick Reed, plus 100 top 40 for reasons I already mentioned. I think he's got the game to grind it out here. I think he's going to be able – I think he's one of those guys that can get pars when pars are going to be good scores, and that's going to be very often at a course like the Country Club. So I do like Patrick Reed top 40 as well.
Yeah, I like that call a lot. I mean, I don't know if he'll be there to win it, but I think he's definitely going to compete and make the cut and get a top 40. So I like that call a lot.
You got any nationality props or any miss the cut props or matchups that you want to get into?
Yeah, I do. The top 40, by the way, too. I have Luke List as a top 40.
Oh, my guy. Sorry, I didn't mean to in the top 40s.
No, that's the only one I have. I just put a quarter unit on it, plus 165. I grabbed it. Actually, I think I put a half unit on it. But, I mean, he finished T41 right on the brink at Southern Hills. Similar course. Yeah, he didn't get the top 40 there.
That's a heartbreaker for someone, I'm sure.
It was for me, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember, but it probably was for me.
A lot of heartbreaks at Southern Hills. Fuck that course, huh, Joey?
Yeah, I'm done with that course. I really don't. And this is a similar course, so now I'm like, let's just hope that all the heartbreak that I suffered at Southern Hills, like the good karma's rolling in for this one because they should not have given me a similar course just this close together. So anyways, you were talking about nationality props, I think you wanted to get to next.
Or if you got make or miss that you want to get into, whatever, buddy. Floor is yours.
I mean, I guess let's start with the nationality prop. Top Continental Euro.
Oh.
Jon Rahm plus 175. FanDuel PointsBet. I put a half unit on it. Got to worry about Victor Hovland. I don't think you really have to worry about Sergio. I mean, maybe, but Alex Noren, Sepp Straka, after that, the names get pretty ugly in this Continental Euro range. So I think Rahm should take care of business. How do you feel about that one?
I mean, anytime you can get Jon Rahm plus money, it feels like a good bet, and we really both like Jon Rahm here, so I completely understand it. Was that the only nationality you got? I haven't placed a wager on a nationality yet, but I have two that I like, and I'm probably only going to decide on one of them. Yeah,
let's hear them. That's the only one that I've bet, and there's one that I was interested in as well, but I'm curious to hear if it's maybe one that you are.
Okay, I'm going with Sung Jae Im, top South Korean, minus 105. I like that a lot. I'm not – Siwoo hasn't been doing what Siwoo does recently. He hasn't been relevant, I feel like, in a while. KH Lee is honestly the one who kind of scares me because KH Lee has been playing pretty good lately. But I'm really on Sung Jae Im this week, so I do believe that he that's a good number for someone like him who I'm on this week. And then the other one I like was Alex Noren minus 135 tops. Ooh. I mean, the rest of the names here are pretty damn ugly. We got Sebastian Soderberg, Jonas Blixt, and then David Lingmerth. I mean, Alex Noren, I know he just burned everyone at the PGA Championship, but minus 135 for the top suite in that group. I mean, I feel like I kind of like that one even better than Siwoo. I like the Siwoo number better, obviously, 105 compared to 135, but Noren to come out of the best of that group, like, come on, he better be able to do that.
Yeah, I like that call a lot.
That's probably the one that I'm honestly going to bet, to be fair. Now that I'm talking through it, that's the one that I'm going to be on.
I'm probably tailing you on that, to be honest. Noren's in such great form. I like that a lot.
For sure.
I'm trying to think of the other one that I had interest in, just to at least ask you just how you felt about it, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it or not. Was it the Australian? Let me see. Take a look at that. Oh, I think it was the Australian. Cam Smith was kind of drawing my interest there. It's plus 120. Might have a better number somewhere out there, but I don't really know like where the rest of these guys their game is right now as far as like Leishman and Adam Scott. I mean, I feel like that's his really only competition in this group that I can think of. I mean, what do you think about this Australian category?
Yeah, Cam Smith. I'm trying to think of the word that I can use. I'm in between on what to do with Cam Smith here. I'm torn because I was on him at the Canadian, or I wasn't on him at the RBC Canadian Open. I was on him at the Memorial. We know he's a short game wizard, but off the tee has just been really a problem for him, man. He's just been leaving himself in some bad places, and I know he's got the incredible skill to get up and down from anywhere, but I'm just worried about his game a little bit. I don't think he was in the same form that he was early on in the year where we saw him compete and contend at the Masters and obviously win the Players' Championship. So personally, I'm not going to get there. And it is an interesting group, though. Adam Scott hasn't been relevant since early on in the season. Leishman, I feel like I haven't heard from him in forever. I have been hearing, interestingly enough, some people backing Min Woo Lee this week because his sister actually won the women's U.S. Open recently, and he's really good with the driver, apparently. So I'm not going to get there on old Min Woo, but that was just something I thought I should throw in there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm only going to place one of these nationality props, and it sounded like it's going to be the Swede Alex Noren there.
Yeah, I think you talked me out of that one as well. I'm just going to stick with John Rahm and maybe the Alex Noren one that you have.
For sure. But that's all the props that I was interested in. I'm going to let you wrap it up because I know you had a couple other things that you were interested in as well. And Wes has one final bet that I believe you're going to be on too this week.
Ooh, he's got something. Is it? Yeah, I'm wondering what he's got. Let's hear Wes's first.
For sure, he's got Phil Mickelson to make the cut.
Okay. I already knew that, and for some reason I forgot as we were on the show.
I was like, does Joey think I'm surprising him here? Because I'm not. I'm like, okay.
It's definitely something I already heard. Yeah, Mickelson to make the cut. I've got that too. Plus 220. Why not? I want chaos. I mean, I want him to make the cut because it'll just fuel this fire that is LIV Golf versus PGA, and really the biggest storyline. We haven't even talked about Tiger not playing in this major yet.
I know. There's been so many other things taking the center stage.
So give me Phil to make the cut. I want absolute chaos.
Love it. What else you got?
Keegan Bradley to miss the cut. Small wager. I know. And I'm a nut job for it. I talked about the reasons why yesterday. I feel like this is a lot of added pressure, him being the Boston guy. Huge Boston sports fan, a lot of maybe family and friends in attendance there. Really wanted to put on for being there. And I just think we've seen him in pressure situations. Like you've had your whole experience with Keegan Bradley.
I'll probably do it again.
I was looking for ways to fade Keegan. I didn't put too much. It was a very small wager on him to miss the cut. But plus 170, I'm like, that's kind of juicy. The main bet that I like is Davis Riley. Matchup bet over Keegan Bradley. Plus 105, I put a half a unit on that. Like I said yesterday, just looking for ways to fade Keegan. But Davis Riley is top 20 in birdie or better conversion rate this year.
He's a great young player.
He's looking really good. T13 at the PGA Championship. Pretty solid off the tee. Putter's working. I mean, he's been T13 or better in each of his last 6 PGA Tour events. For what it's worth, looking at most of the top 40 markets too, Riley is listed as a heavier favorite than Keegan with some juice behind his name. So I'm like, why is there plus money behind Riley's name for the head-to-head, but he has more juice and more of a backing for a top 40, but he's an underdog here? I think they're baiting us with this head-to-head matchup. So, again, fading Keegan, betting Riley, half a unit. That's my only matchup bet that I have so far. And then let's see if there was any other props that I had. I have one other like overall tournament prop. So, because I know you hate the fading the Keegan Bradley one, but playoff to decide the winner. I'm going yes, quarter of a unit, plus 400. I think it's going to come down to a playoff. I really do. I know history, like it's been 14 years. This is the longest. It's the major that's gone the longest since the last playoff has now had to decide it. But now you've got the 18-hole, or you had the 18-hole playoff. Now they have the 2-hole aggregate playoff.
Yeah.
They haven't seen that. Tiger Woods was the last time that this happened for the U.S. Open, outlasting Rocco in 2008. That was at Torrey Pines. Well, playoffs were necessary to crown a winner in 3 previous U.S. Opens at this venue and 6 U.S. Opens played in the state of Massachusetts. I think history might be telling us we know what the USGA wants, right?
They want it tough.
They want it tough. They want it closely contested. I think a lot of the historical stats I'm looking at, this course is much different than it was in 1913, in 1963, in 1988. So I know bringing the historical stuff like that to the playoffs, yeah, it might not make a whole lot of sense. Like this course is totally different. But I think that they want fireworks, and it reinforces that theory by taking them to go to a playoff. So plus 400 a quarter unit, that's not a bad. I'm definitely not laying it like minus 670 or whatever the hell is for no. So yeah, give me yes.
All right. Hey, give us the drama this week, man. Give us the drama. We love the drama. That's what we tune into golf for, and hopefully the drama will be going our way. Before we get out of here, I want to ask you though, who's your one favorite bet of the week? We said Wes earlier was Matthew Fitzpatrick. I was curious. Last thought, best bet. Who's your favorite bet of the week?
For the outright or for anything?
Anything. Give me your favorite bet of the week.
Ooh, man, this is so tough.
I'm putting you on the spot, but I want to hear it.
Put me on the spot because I wasn't actually thinking about it beforehand for my favorite bet. I think Max Homa top 30.
Max Homa top 30. Hey, he's been playing really well. I know the majors have kind of eluded him, but he was there at the PGA Championship, which I think is a good sign that he's headed on the one track. My favorite bet, I took the boost on it. Scotty Scheffler outright, baby. Scotty Scheffler, you've cost me so much money in the past. Now is your time to get it back to me. I threw some enhanced odds on you, bud. And if you don't, I'll probably Venmo request you like that one guy did when he 3-putted to win the Masters. That cost him a bunch of money. But I'm going with Scotty Scheffler. Wes is going with Matt Fitzpatrick. You got Max Homa top 30. I love it, buddy. Let's win some money this week. It's a great week. I love the U.S. Open. Year's third major. We only got one more of these after, so let's enjoy it while we got it, and let's win some money this week. What do you say?
Yeah, let's win some money. Let's crack them. I look forward to having Keegan Bradley versus Will Zalatoris for the playoff on Sunday.
Hey, I'm probably going to have both of them, so that's a win-win for me.
Let's do this, guys. Good luck.